is just, so yeah, if you find a bit like bamboo, or if you think there's fiber in something, or I don't know, just experiment. Like, I mean, all of this, and with these different fibers, like there's companies now that are making fabric out of the inside of crab shells over in China. They found a way to somehow take the fiber out of crab shells and make that to a fabric. There's a really cool fabric that's made out of milk fabric. It's like very soft. It has your skin can actually absorb all of the amino acids in the milk, and everything that you can get from drinking milk, you can actually absorb through your skin by wearing this fabric. And even if you're lactose intolerant. So yeah, it's really cool, and it's like silk. It's pretty cool, and it softens your skin like a milk bath.
Would you still, okay, so if someone was vegan and they wore a milk shirt, would that be breaking vegan?
I don't know, you'd have to ask that vegan.
Yeah. Like, would you consider it?
Well, I guess vegan, I don't know what the definition is, but to me, if you're going to be vegan and you were to, I guess you're trying not to contribute to anything that has to do with dairy. So I guess that would be going against veganism. Because veganism, is that a word?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, I guess it just depends on your personal religion about it, So, okay, and then there's also a plant, nettles. I mean, there's so many. The list of all of these alternative fibers goes on, and the benefits from them as far as growing them without having to have the use of pesticides, herbicides, or any kind of assistance for that matter is just mind-blowing. Just the possibilities. And then
crazy. This is amazing.
Isn't that cool? And
she had pulled up a picture of the plant on her iPhone there.
Cool.
Oh, okay. Do you want to pass it around? I know everyone has seen this plant.
Oh yeah,
you
don't know
what it's called. But when you see this picture, you will.
Yeah, I recognize it.
You'll recognize it.
So do you weave also?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't. I've been sewing for 16 years, 15, 16 years. And probably in the past 5 years, I've just really started to get into the actual production of textiles and get more interested in that because I love going to fabric. Oh my God. It's like anxiety, when you walk into Joann's Fabrics. It's like too much to choose from, But after a while, I was thinking like, I want to make my own patterns. Like I want something even more unique. I want to create my own patterns on my fabrics and textures and dyes and whatever. So then I got into more dyeing, and I did more batiking. Do you guys know what batiking is? It's where you apply wax onto the fabric. You apply, you have a design on your fabric, and so what would it be the opposite?
You have like a positive, so you put the wax where you don't want the dye.
Right, to adhere to the fabric.
And it's an easy wax to remove, all right, and then you can do different colors on it, for your design, but you're using the wax. And now they have another product that's even easier than wax to put on. It's like a liquid, it's a resistant that you can brush on in the place of it. So that's something I'm doing later too.
Cool. Yeah, it's fun.
So
you're stoked. Yeah, there's and like indigenous or primitive like tribes and stuff in Africa I've seen where they like using mud to do this, but it's a resistant thing. So to create patterns on your fabric. So anyway, so then I was dyeing with that, and then that's when I started getting more into awareness about our Florida aquifer and the waters and what's happening. I mean, there's springs that are slowing, which means the water is not coming up as rapid as it was before, and there's springs that are actually dying. So there's no more water coming up.
sinkholes.
Yeah, Sinkholes is where the water comes down into and actually sinks down into the
So
aquifer.
the houses that you hear about in the news that are falling in these big holes?
It's
in
because the
Florida?
water is no longer underneath those caves in the Florida aquifer, and so they're creating all of these pockets, and then so that's what's happening. So again, the answers here. I'm like finding them and sharing them with you today. So okay, so fibers. Oh, and also cotton. Speaking of cotton, there is cotton that grows in color, and its seed is actually dying out because the staple of the fiber, so the length of each individual fiber, isn't long enough to go through the cotton gin. So when the big industry started to develop, it was much more efficient for them to just grow the white cotton that had the longer fibers and just dye that. So, but I've been able to find green cotton seeds and brown cotton seeds. There's also a pink cotton and a blue cotton, which I haven't been able to find here in the States. I've seen where they have it in Peru, so hopefully I'll be able to get my hands on some of those seeds. But I have been growing some colored cotton just because it's fun and just to see, you know, what it's like to grow some cotton. And I do this all organically. Anything I grow organically, of course. But I'm going to pass this around. I've got some seeds. And two, if you're interested, because I have more, let's see, here we go. I've got some, okay, here's green cotton and brown cotton. I'm going to pass this around. If you guys want to take some of this brown cotton, because this is just my first year of the green cotton, so I don't have a whole lot of it, but if you want to take some of the brown cotton with the seeds and try and plant it on your own and see what happens, you can totally do that. So I'm going to pass this around and so you guys can check it out. But yeah, and just to replenish the seed, because there's so many different like medicinal plants and things that are dying out because people aren't growing them, and you know, then we have pharmaceutical companies, so we don't need that medicinal seed, or you know, we have dyes for the white cotton, so we don't need the colored cotton anymore, you know. But to me, I like the aestheticness of it, and also too, there's that tradition, and you know, there's something more to it for me, I feel. So and it's just cool. Okay, another fiber. So I've been talking about the cellulose fibers, which is all the plant fibers, and then you have protein fibers, which actually milk is a protein fiber, but your protein fibers come from animals. So it's going to be your wools and alpacas and silk. Any animal fiber is a protein fiber. And I'm differentiating those because that's going to be important with the dyeing process, because there are two different processes that go on for each fiber, mainly in the preparation of it. So I actually went and visited an alpaca farm yesterday in Weewa, and she also has Angora rabbits, and man, she made a scarf out of the Angora, and that stuff is so luxurious. Oh my gosh. It is, that's good stuff right there, but it takes a lot, you know, because the rabbits are only so big. But their fiber can actually be harvested every, like quarterly. So 4 times a year, you can get fibers off of one Angora rabbit. And then the alpacas, you can, their fleece once a year. And she breeds alpacas there. I've got her website. It's the last one on your reference sheet if you're interested in checking out her website and what she's doing there. And super nice lady, her and her husband. And you can even go out there and check out her farm. It's not like anything out of Southern Living or anything, you know, but she's like got a cool operation going on. So, and she gave me some little scraps of fibers to show you guys. And she spins. She processes the fiber, cleans it. Alpaca fiber doesn't have to be cleaned nearly as much as wool because of the no, I always have a hard time saying this word. Linolen. Yeah, that's it. Linolen. It's the oil secreted into the fibers of the sheep. So alpacas don't have nearly as much of that, so the cleaning process is not nearly as extensive. This is raw alpaca fiber right here. So from this, you'll be able to tell how, you know, close it is already to being spun and processed. I think she cleaned a little bit of this out. There's still a little bit of debris and stuff. And it doesn't smell too because it doesn't have that oil in the fiber. It doesn't smell. I mean, it has a slight earthiness to it, but nothing like the wool. And to alpacas, there's an alpaca farm in central Florida. So there are species that have acclimated to more tropical environments, believe it or not. They're like wool, you know, like sheep. It's crazy. So from the raw fiber, so she'll clean that fiber, and then she'll cord it, which is a means of, there's like two combs, flat combs that have little tiny teeth all in them, and you rake the combs back and forth, and that separates the fibers from all of the debris. That's your typical way of cleaning the fiber. There's all different other types of ways that she was telling me all about them because she's all into that. And then this is roving. So this is basically preparing the fiber, getting all the fibers in, going in one direction to be able to spin. Which she has a wheel, and she also has a spindle, which can be made at home like very easily if you guys are interested in spinning fiber. But I'll pass that down. And here's some more roving. Now these colors here, these aren't natural dyes. She dyed these with some other dyes. I'll just pass this bag around and you guys can check this stuff out. This is actually the color of one of the alpacas. And she felted this. This is actually a really thick felt, which I'm wanting to get more into the felting process because it's a pretty quick way to actually get some, like a fabric substance to do something with, opposed to spinning it, weaving it, or knitting it.
You can make some really cool hats.
Yeah. Well, she
Really
made
cool
slippers, house slippers, and this was the scraps from the house slippers. But she just did this in her tub. I mean, felting is pretty easy. Basic felting, pretty easy. Did everyone get to check this out? Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, she got that so thick. That's a lot of fiber. But yeah, if you want raw fiber to be able to felt with, she can supply that for you. If you want her spinning services, she can supply that as well. And she is definitely on the barter system. So if you have something you want to trade, if you have like a lemon tree out in your front yard and you want to trade, give her some lemons, or or if you have some kind of service, that you can supply that she would want, and you guys could trade. I mean, she's totally all about that, which that's what I'm all about too. Like bringing, what I would really like to see is the fiber artists in the community coming together and trading all of these services, right? So most of us are more into the sewing aspect of it, seamstresses, right? Or there's probably a lot of knitters in here, maybe. Yeah, knitting. Yeah, so there you go. Here's a local source, so we're not having to import, whatever, and go through all that googly gaw and spend money that's like, uncalled for. And two, investing in, your fellow textile artists in the community. And so that way we can create a closed loop cycle on clothing production.